Hello, once again, everybody. This is Russ Williams from Transition Tuesdays. I've been having a time at it today. I'm not sure if I don't know what's going on with this, but I'm trying to have my show like I normally do every Tuesday. But something is going on. I don't know what's going on, guys. I might be in a different. I probably need to get in a different area room. I don't know. I'm gonna walk around and see if I get better reception to talk to you guys about the topic that we were talking about. Boy, let's see. I think it's going good so far. I don't know. Really frustrated because I have some information, I really want to share with you guys, and I really want to get some input, from the masters as well. Again, you read me here, my host. Yeah, I'm the host. I'm forgetting who I am now. I've been having so many troubles today with this. But again, my name is Russ Williams, and you're watching Transition Tuesdays, and we were talking about the transition. We talked about the transition to divorce. As Leah is joining us. What's going on, Leah? Thanks again for joining me again here on Transition Tuesdays. Really appreciate you for joining me. And I hope everybody else can join in on the discussion as well, as we were talking about the D word, actually, divorce and the transition from divorce. And I was sharing my story with my transition. I transitioned from being married to not being divorced. I was married for 15 years. I was just granted a divorce. And, a lot of people ask me, what's your feelings on that? What's your feelings on divorce? And, your current feelings on divorce. As Karen is rejoining us. Thank you, Karen, again for rejoining me. I appreciate you. So, I just want to share some of my feelings about me being divorced. Because, again, they vary from time to time and on a daily basis. And, I wrote down my feelings on about my divorce. And maybe, hopefully people out there can share their viewpoints on, if they had a divorce or what have you, or how their transitional process was when they went from being married to being divorced. So again, sometimes for me, I get the feeling of being relieved, that the whole process is over. For me, it was a tough and lengthy process. I had to do the separation process for a year and then file for divorce. So for me, it's kind of like a sense of relief for me, personally. Sometimes I feel, and again, I wrote down these things that way. I know, I'll be able to share them with you guys. Sometimes I feel like a sense of being happy, a joyous occasion. It's just a new start for me. And then sometimes I feel kind of sad about the situation because sometimes it feels like I failed in the process of being married, especially for, the time invested, for everybody involved. Again, I wrote down, sometimes, you feel defeated. Sometimes you feel like you're lost in this battle, the battle of, in the whole process. So, sometimes you feel defeated. Sometimes I feel angry about it. Because again, you invest a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of love in the process. And then when it comes down to a divorce, it's a final deal. So sometimes you feel angry and frustrated about it as well. And, another feeling I have is a feeling of concern, especially with, the person that you dealt with for 20 years. That person, again, if you're just joining us, my ex-wife's name was Natalie. And, you're concerned about her well-being. You're concerned about your kids' well-being. So I constantly talk to my kids on a daily basis, which is great. But then, and then you're sometimes concerned about your feelings and your well-beings as well. We got Lou joining us. What's going on, Lou? Welcome to Transition Tuesdays. So, these feelings are conjured up, these mixed emotions are conjured up, when you're transitioning to being divorced. And also I wrote down, sometimes you feel revitalized. It's like a fresh start for you. It's like a new beginning. It's a new page, in life. So you feel revitalized. Then sometimes you get the feelings of being alone and, kind of lonely. Not having that person to talk to, in the evening or daytime or what have you. Sometimes, when you're going through a divorce, you you get these type of feelings. Then again, I also wrote down sometimes you feel kind of victorious. Like for me, I feel victorious again because this was a lengthy and a difficult process to get this ball rolling. And first, I did it on my own. That wasn't working. Then I had to reach out to an attorney to get the ball rolling. And then when the judgment finally comes in, you consider it a victorious feat. So sometimes you feel victorious. And finally, the last feeling I feel on a daily basis, a lot of, you feel that freedom, the feeling of being free, of being, doing what you like and being who you want to be with or what have you. So you might get that feeling of being free. But, these are the emotions and the feelings I get when I'm going through this transitional process to a divorce. And, I just want to know everybody out there, what's their feelings out there. And, if anybody out there who is going through a divorce or has suffered a divorce, what type of feelings did you have when that process was going on for you? So I'm quite interested to hear your thought process on the whole thing as well. So let's see who we got. We got anybody else joining us? Oh, yeah. So we got that there. So again, my apologies on the feedback. I don't know if it's, I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. This is like the fourth time I've been trying to do the show today, and but it looks like it's working right now. So 4 times is the charm. 4 times is the charm here. Oh, man. Lou says, you are never alone when you are a Jasper. Hey, Lou, I really appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yep. So, like people say, sometimes you gotta, in order to heal, you have to reveal. So, I'm here revealing, that transition, because that's what we talk about here on Transition Tuesdays. We talk all about transition. So it's all about that. So now, Lou, I really appreciate that. So, but I ask of everybody out there, because again, usually when you tune in and watch my show, Transition Tuesdays, we talk about different transitions. I usually give, people my game plan steps to a successful transition. So in this case, I'm going through this transition, so I can't really give game plan steps or GPSs on how you can have a successful transition here to divorce. But I'm willing to listen to everybody out there, everybody listening. Maybe you can give us some insight or give me some insight on, what kind of steps could I take to have a successful transition to the divorce, in the divorce process. So, I would love to hear from everybody out there, and really talk about that. So, again, I'm receptive to learning, because again, this is a new process, and this is a process that you have to go through, and I realize this is a process. So I'm willing to, find out from the masses out there, maybe people who are married, maybe people who are not, not even in a marriage divorce, just like you're divorcing yourself from somebody, It doesn't even have to be like a marriage, but like, how did you go about navigating through that process for you to have a successful divorce, be it in marriage or if you're divorcing somebody or something or what have you. Just, just reach out just to let me know, because I'm really curious to really, hear your thoughts on the subject matter. So again, if you just joined us here on Transition Tuesdays, we're talking about the transition from being married to now becoming divorced. And again, I shared the situation with me. My story was I have recently been granted divorce, and I was married for 15 years. 15 years. It would have been 16 years on November 29th. So, I'm in that transitional process of doing it, and a lot of feelings come up, A lot of times, you see on TV and stuff like that, people have divorce parties and stuff like that, or, celebrating that, sometimes for me, my emotions are very mixed, they're happy, sad, a lot of times. And what helped me a great deal, sometimes the mental illness portion could come into effect. You get a lot of anxiety. During this time, I had a lot of anxiety that was going on, during this process, from the separation process to the actual divorce process. I got help. I reached out to Talkspace, and, I got some therapy on that. So I do recommend that. So, these are things that were able to help me out in this process. But, those things happen. So it's kind of a mixed bag for me going through this transition to divorce. It's a mixed bag because, again, your emotions fluctuate from day to day. But I know in my heart of hearts, I made the right choice for me. I made the right choice for my family. So I'm really content with it. And but I have a couple of fears out there sometimes. A lot of times I do have a lot of fears in this process. In the process, I do have the fear of starting over. It's almost like you're graduating from 8th grade. Now you're going to be a freshman. You got to start over. And then if you're lucky enough to graduate high school and you go on to college, you become a freshman again. You're starting over. So this process here is, it's the thing that I kind of fear, is the fear of the unknown. But, you trudge through it. You get off the campus, you get off the canvas, you get off the deck, and you brush yourself off, and you strive for that love that you once had. You strive for that, togetherness that you had with a partner that you had. So I know I'll get past this fear. It's starting over. I know we all have to do it, especially those who going through a divorce. But, that fear is here. That fear is real. And, a lot of times I like to say that divorce is like the death of a close friend or family member, divorce. And like for me, I'm treating, my marriage like it was the death of a person that I once loved. And again, I can only speak for me on my transition, but, me anticipating my divorce, because, it's almost like being hit, by like a Mike Tyson punch. You're anticipating the divorce, when you file, you're anticipating it. So, and like, Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until you get hit. So I got hit, but I anticipated, my divorce. And when you anticipate your divorce, it's like you're planning for a wake. And then when you're granted your divorce, it's like you're planning for a funeral. And, you got to be involved in the mourning process. So, I prepared myself for this time to have that wake. So I anticipated being in this position. So, I'm definitely okay with it. I did the wake process of it. So now that the actual time is here about having a divorce, I'm in the funeral stage. I'm in the grieving stage, in which, I've done that before, but it's totally different when it's actually here. So, I just have to give myself some time to heal, and and see what the process goes from there. But I'm willing to see, what the process is for everybody else out there who maybe has gone through that process. And I'm going to move around because I think I'm going to get better reception here when I'm talking. So hopefully this feed is going through. Would be nice if it is going through. Yeah, so, that's what we talked about here today. Transition Tuesdays. We talked about, the transition to divorce and, the process on it. And again, my apologies. I wish I can do this show over because I think my feed isn't coming in correctly or the right way. But again, this is an important subject to talk about, and hopefully it does come through in this process. But let's see what we got. But yeah. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to do this. I might have to bring this process back because I'm not sure how good of a feed this was today on Transition Tuesdays. But I'm probably going to, we're going to talk more further in detail once I get a better feed, I guess, and really do that, get a chance to do that. But I think it's playing much better now. But again, I appreciate everybody else who's tuning in. We got Kyra joining us. Hey, thank you for joining us here on Transition Tuesdays. And again, if you just joined us, we were talking about the transition to divorce and just the feelings on that. And again, if anybody's out there who has experienced the divorce, I'd like to get your input on how I can, just me going through my transition, maybe how I can navigate for a successful transition from being married to not being divorced to finding love once again. So, that's my process on that. So I'm going to do it like this, guys. Again, I'm gonna, we're gonna probably speak more on this once I get a better feed, probably next week. Hopefully, God will, hopefully next week I have a better feed on this, because this topic is very important, especially with people who have contacted me to speak on this particular subject. So I know it's, it can help others. If what I'm going through can help somebody, help one person or the masses, it's worth talking about. So I'm going to probably definitely talk about this next week, get more input from everybody else, and hopefully I have better feed going on. And so I'm just going to end it like this, guys. As we say in parting, happy transitioning, and we'll speak to you soon next week. Okay? Take care, guys.